Welcome everyone to today's Friday Forum at the City Club of Cleveland. My name is Ralph Delarada. I have the great privilege of being your president this year, at least up until the end of this month. The City Club was originally established in Cleveland in 1912. It was established to encourage new ideas and to provide a free exchange of thought for the citizens of our city. We are the oldest continuous free speech forum in the United States. And we have a long and storied tradition of free speech exercised through public debate and discussion. Today, the City Club is an organization where its diverse members participate in wide-ranging, high-quality forums, as well as enjoying great camaraderie. We are a civic center where the Cleveland community comes together each and every week to encounter and challenge important ideas. We've grown from a small local club into an electronic forum open not only to our nation, but to our world as a whole. Today, we have an influential leader who is deeply involved in our nation's human rights and equality movements. Our speaker is Joe Solmonese, the president of the Human Rights Campaign, or the HRC. HRC is the country's largest gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender, LGBT, civil rights organization. The group exerts enormous influence in the United States politics and boasts more than 700,000 members and supporters with an annual budget of more than $30 million. As president, Joe is instrumental in promoting and enacting legislation to protect the rights of the LGBT community, as well as launching programs that help expand education about the many issues facing these groups. Over his tenure, the HRC has achieved significant victories, including the first House of Representatives hate crimes bill and federal legislation granting new pension benefits for same-sex partners. HRC has additionally influenced important electoral races, such as the U.S. Senate race defeat of incumbent Rick Santorum of Pennsylvania. Mr. Solmonese has further worked closely with corporate leaders, guiding influential companies like Microsoft to take strong public stances for fairness in tracking company policies with HRC's Corporate Equality Index. Successes have also been seen at the state government level as recently as earlier this month, when New Hampshire passed an equal marriage bill. There have also been setbacks to the movement, including California's recent voter-approved constitutional ban on gay marriage and its state Supreme Court's upholding of the ban. Nevertheless, whereas before 2004, same-sex couples could not marry anywhere in our country, there are now 6 states where gay marriage is legal and several other states that recognize those marriages. Plus, according to a Washington Post ABC poll, which I think you'll find this very interesting, just released in April, for the first time, more Americans say they support marriage for same-sex couples than oppose it. In this context, Mr. Solmonese continues to work tirelessly to help lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender Americans attain the resources they need to make changes, achieve full equality, and win over the hearts and minds of Americans outside of their communities. Under his leadership, the National Journal rated HRC the second most successful interest group in all of Washington during the 2006 election. Prior to joining HRC, Mr. Solmonese was Chief Executive Officer of Emily's List, where he oversaw a successful national effort to elect progressive women to office. He has worked for numerous campaigns and in government positions, including top fundraising positions for Lise Aucoin and Barney Frank's congressional campaigns. He began his career as an aide in the office of prior Massachusetts Governor Michael Dukakis. Joe spent 3 years co-hosting The Agenda, a weekly XM radio show that discussed current LGBT issues and engaged the movement's community and supporters. He has also appeared on CNN, The Daily Show, and The New York Times, among other media outlets. He graduated from Boston University in 1987 with a Bachelor of Science degree in Communication. He grew up in Attleboro, Massachusetts, and currently lives in Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to introduce this prominent, widely respected leader today. Please join me in welcoming Joe Solmonese to the City Club.
Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. I want to thank the City Club of Cleveland for inviting me, and I certainly want to thank KeyBank, which many of you may know scores a perfect 100% on HRC's Corporate Equality Index. So it is not surprising that they're sponsoring the Diversity Thought Leader Series, so thank you again for inviting me. I want to also thank my wonderful HRC family who is here today, Tim Downing and Jane Daroff, our board of directors, and everyone else who has come today. Thank you so much. And a couple of other people I just want to welcome. We have two incredibly supportive elected officials, Joe Simperman, who is here, as well as Nikki Antonio. And also two leaders in the movement who I have a great deal of respect for. Sue Dorfer is here from the center, and my friend, who is also here, Lynn Bowman from Equality Ohio. So thank you all for being here today. Recently, I had an interesting conversation with a young person, someone who, at the beginning of the conversation, I thought we were kind of in the same age group, and by the end of it I realized that I was old enough to be his father, which when you get to your mid-40s you realize that you've crossed that important threshold, that you speak to adults who are old enough to be your child. And we were talking, as you just heard, about the recent Supreme Court decision in California to let Proposition 8 stand that just occurred a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about what some of you may have heard about, the recent decision to bring a lawsuit to try to issue an injunction against that election, that it was brought by the lawyers who argued on behalf of Gore and Bush, David Boies and Ted Olson. And we were talking about the merits of that lawsuit and whether that was a good idea or not. And this young man said to me, well, you know, Joe, I've decided that we are tired of waiting. And so, in my head, the three questions that I immediately came to mind were, you know, who's we? What have you been waiting for? Because I can tell you that I have been waiting for you for a number of years now. And quite frankly, you're way too young to be tired. So, what I said to him in a greatly truncated fashion was I tried to sort of put where we were in all of this in context very briefly. And I thought maybe a little bit more expansively today that's what I would do with all of you. Because what is important to note is that 40 years ago this month, the Stonewall riots occurred in New York. It was a hot summer night, and Judy Garland had just died. 40 years ago this month, in my lifetime, it was the custom in New York and in other major cities for the police to routinely raid a gay bar and either arrest people or beat people senseless simply for congregating in the same room. 40 years ago in New York this month, in my lifetime, if you happened to be in one of those bars, if you were not able to slip out the door fast enough, your life was ruined or inalterably changed. And yet, as you heard, 40 years to the day, the state of New York is poised to become the next state to grant full marriage equality to same-sex couples in this country. Now, why is that? Because on that night, 40 years ago, for the first time, gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender Americans fought back. We recognized, as we would at so many other times in this journey toward equality, that we were in this alone, that no one else was there. So we stood our ground. We made it stretch out over a number of days. And more important than anything else, we made the country witness the injustice that was being visited upon a group of innocent Americans.